Hello, everybody. My name is Mary Robinette Cole, and I am here today with a special guest, Babatunde Akinboboye. He is a baritone. He's an influencer. He's a hip hopera artist. He's American-born, Nigerian-bred, and Tunde is unapologetically combining his operatic training, his love for hip hop, and his affinity for stylistic juxtaposition. So one of the things that I got excited about is that I have heard him sing on the social medias, and he has an amazing voice. I am a fan of opera, and he's extremely good. But then he also does all of this other stuff to make opera more accessible to people who haven't experienced it. And the thing that kind of really made him the influencer, the thing that you probably have seen passed around, was a video in 2018 where he's in his car and he's singing the lyrics and the melody from Largo al Factotum from The Barber of Seville over a track of Kendrick Lamar's Humble, and it went viral. It's fantastic. You should watch it, even though it's no longer 2018. So now he's an influential content creator. I stumbled across him on TikTok, where he's talking about the history of opera, and he's basically very cool, very approachable, humorous, and delightful follow. I highly recommend it. And I wanted to bring him in to talk about the world of opera, the world of being an influencer, and like what that overlap is like. So we're going to start off with a question that I ask everybody, because there's the bio. You sing opera, you do hip hop, you do, okay, but what do you actually do?
The stuff I do online, my social media stuff, is what I'm surprisingly, I don't want to say antisocial, but I spend a lot of time indoors. And it's remarkable how much I entertain myself. And I grew up with a younger sibling who was 2 years younger than me. So you'd think I wouldn't be able, but I could sit in a room by myself and just cackle. So I do I listen to a lot of music. I think that is the primary thing that is always going on. It's such a part of my, I don't even recognize it until it's not happening. And then I'm like, I need the music.
Yeah.
I listen to music. And these days, honestly, I really just think of, I say content, but it's really not content. It really feels, I just think of different ways to express myself. I feel like I've been using social media it's been serving two purposes, but one of the less obvious purposes is it's really helping me on this journey of getting more acquainted with myself as an artist. Because being an artist or being an opera singer, that kind of artist is, one way that I think it's very different from a lot of other art forms is because it's such an old art form, and a lot of what is valued in it is like our older qualities and factors. For that reason, it's the better you can replicate what has been done before, the better of an opera singer you are. So there's not a lot of room for creativity. It's in some ways it can actually be frowned upon. We don't want anything new. Like, stick with the classics.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I know that one of the things that most opera singers do, because it is so demanding, is that they specialize. Here's the roles that I specialize in. And these are it's like, I'm a Wagnerian singer and I do bel canto. So where do you think about yourself are the roles that you're getting cast in the roles that you were imagining when you were like, I'm going to go do this thing?
Not at all. Not even close. It's remarkable because you're right. We do very much specialize, and it can be the niches can be very fine, but we all specialize because we do. And so that starts in college. The first few semesters of you taking voice lessons, or the first actually few weeks, your voice teacher is figuring out what your voice is, where it is, where its strength is. Okay, you can sing that high, but you can't stay there for a long time. Got it. Okay, so you're more, and then they classify you, if you will. They put you, the classifications in opera we call them Fach, F-A-C-H. It's a German word from the Fache system, where they came up with the classifications for the voice. And so we meet another singer. Oh, you're an opera singer. What's your Fach? So I'm a lyric baritone, which is what I am technically, according to my training in school. However, once I got out there, they were hiring me for bass baritone roles mostly. And the reason for that is, so a lyric baritone Okay, so there's a baritone, lyric baritone and bass baritone. We'll just simplify it in that way. Lyric baritones sing in the baritone range, but they can hang out in the higher parts for a longer period of times. Bass baritones, we hang out in the basement.
Mhm.
But because the color of my voice when I sing, that we use the term like the color of the
Yeah.
voice, it sounds like warmer and darker, and it sounds like I sing lower than I actually can. And so, as a result of a career of this happening very often, I've strengthened the basement, if you will, of my voice, and I still have my higher range. So it's given me a lot to play with.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a puppeteer, and I had to go through classical voice training in order to not hurt myself when I was singing character voice.
That makes sense.
So the color of voice is something that I find deeply fascinating. When you're doing things that are not opera, like when you're playing around with some of the hip hop stuff, with rapping, do you take advantage of being in those other mediums to play with other parts of your voice?
Yeah. Yeah, because classical music, I think there's training in the classical arts, but I guess I'll stay in my lane. Classical music training can be, for lack of a better word, rigid.
Yeah.
And so it's very much don't do it any other way. And so you get a lot of classical artists who mature into only being able to do it a certain way. So getting to do other things like rap or sing other styles of music or just sing opera away from the opera hall because they're certain songs that, oh, you're a baritone, you're not supposed to be singing. It's almost like you get in trouble for singing a tenor
Mhm.
song, even casually in your living room. Your colleagues will say, whoa, hang on. It's really, because in a way, it's, I would say, think of it like you're a boxer in an Olympic boxer, and you have a friend that's like a shot put thrower. And he's, hey, can you throw this? And you take it like, yeah, sure. And you start like messing around, but your boxing coach is like, hey, that shoulder, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's similar to that. It's, well, don't sing that tenor stuff because you'll hurt your baritone stuff. That, I think that was the original idea behind it. In my opinion, it spiraled out of control where even if you like know the words to a song from another Fach, it's like, why do you know that? And it's, listen, I'm not singing this over an orchestra. It's fine for me to just be able to sing this or sing it for my friends and family at a party because I'm a baritone. And unfortunately, most of the big popular songs in opera belong to tenors and sopranos.
Yeah.
And I sing that stuff because people are, oh, opera, I want to sing something else that I know that's only done by tenors. There's probably 2 opera songs that people know of that are done by baritones, and most people don't even know the names of them. So it's fine.
Yeah, we had a question pop up into the chat that I'm going to go ahead and pull in, which is Becky wanted to know what role is your favorite to sing and what role would you love to get a chance to do?
Ooh. My favorite to sing is Escamillo from Carmen. He's the bullfighter Toreador.
Yeah.
I love it for a number of reasons. I'll sing this out loud, feels whatever. The first reason I love him is because he doesn't show up until the second act of the opera. And so I love not having to really be there at the same time as everyone else. I can show up at the theater after the opera has started and then do my hair and makeup. So that's a little thing from like the backstage stuff that I like about the role. And I like when he does show up, the opera stops for him to sing the big number, and it's a song everyone remembers. Ba, 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 ba. So it's just a really warm welcome whenever I hit the stage. And then I do that song, I see the girl, hey, you're cute. And then I take off. And I'm off the stage for another hour until my next scene. I show up, I fight the girl's boyfriend. I say, hey, honey, see you later. And I'm gone. And then I show up again at the end to sing the big, like, all right, be safe, I love you, and go off into battle. And at the end of the opera, when I come out for the bow, everyone goes nuts. And the return on that investment, it's very little effort for such a big pay, because honestly, we rank the importance. No, I'll say it. It's just us. We don't like to say the importance, but that's really what it is. The importance of the singer in the show by the order of the bow. Whoever was the most important bows last. Usually, if you're doing Aida bows last. So in that show, I bow after people who have more singing to do than I do. But because it's just a big
It's the showstopper.
showy
Now.
role.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. No,
and it's also, I really like the music. I can be critical about opera because, and I feel completely justified in doing so.
yeah.
The opera needs to update its music. It just
Mhm.
really does, and that's the reason. That's the biggest reason it's disconnecting from today's audience. They can't relate. And it's so frustrating because you can tell people really want to like opera,
Yeah.
but don't get me started, or maybe not
No,
yet.
you can. This is exactly the kind of thing that I want. Is rants. Rants are useful.
Okay, then I'll get back to that. What I like about that role is that I like the music. That's so much of Carmen's music. So much of it is like melodious. These melodies that just stay in regular people's minds. I love leaving the opera house and hearing people still whistling songs from the show. It's like, yeah, because the Carmen's still a banger. The music in that is just so good. So that's another reason I'm really doing that role. A role I would want to do that I have not done yet. I don't know. I don't know that there is. It's interesting. I feel like every time is because obviously we end up doing the same roles repeatedly a number of times. And so even when doing that, each time feels like a different adventure. Like it's a different, almost, that's the way I think of them as the same thing happening in different universes. If there's like a multiverse, that's the way I think of the different opera. Oh, it's the same story, but in this universe where it happened during World War II instead of during ancient Greece or whatever. And so playing Escamillo in this universe as opposed to Escamillo in that universe feels as different for me as playing Escamillo in this universe and Don Jose in this universe. There's subtle differences, but I guess the trick of the role when doing the same role in a different show, I guess the trickiness, you have to, there are trade-offs in trickiness. And this says you're trying not to do different things than you're trying not to do when you're doing a completely different role. It's, yeah, some things get easier and some things get harder.
That makes complete sense. The getting that, having the different orchestra, the different conductor, the different people you're playing off of, in addition to just the physical trappings of it. Yeah, of course it would feel different. So what makes a good day for you? Like when you're, and we'll stick with opera just for the moment, and then I'm going to ask you some influencer questions in a little bit. But when you've gone through the day and you're like, yeah, that was fantastic. That was a good day.
A good day is, I'm not sure how you want me to answer this, so I think I'll just kind of hit the high points.
Rambling.
Fortunately, I wake up most of the time without an alarm clock, but that's the way I would like to wake up. But actually well rested, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
And then I wake up and I feel motivated to exercise. That would be nice. Because I'm good. I usually will exercise, but I don't always feel motivated to. It's the good days is when I'm like, wake up, I'm like, let's get this done.
Yeah.
So do that. I eat a good breakfast. I like eggs.
Do you do the whole thing where you're like, oh, I can't do dairy because my voice?
No, I'm not that singer. Fortunately, as a baritone, my vocal cords are thicker than a lot of the other voice types, so they can take more of a beating. They need less recovery time. And because of the kind of baritone I am, or kind of person I am as a baritone, my vocal cords have had a lot of exercise. As far, not so much in the singing, I haven't practiced singing as much as I've practiced surviving, like taking a vocal beating. And so I can eat and drink pretty much whatever I want right up until a performance. Most performances.
Yeah. That is fortunate.
Yeah. That being said, I think every opera, we joke that 40% of being an opera singer is dealing with phlegm. That's like everywhere in our ears, everywhere. We have we talk about it constantly, and I won't. But that being said, I drink a lot. That I do make a point to drink a ton of water.
Yeah.
That is the one thing I do consciously do. I've always drank a lot of water living in Lagos, Nigeria, and Southern California, just used to the heat. And yeah, But a good breakfast, exercise, I have a good vocal day, like a good voice day. There's some great opera singers that joke that, yeah, I've had all this amazing career, but I've only been in perfect voice twice, and both of them were on a Tuesday. It's just like with this, for us, it always feels like, okay, what problem are we going to have to deal with today? Okay, this thing. All right, this is how I'm going to navigate that for this performance.
Yeah.
And it's always because we say our whole body is our instrument, which is very true. And that's the one thing we have different from other instrumentalists that we're so jealous of. For
Yeah.
instance, a violinist can have a fight with their significant other and show up and perform, and their instrument's still going to sound the same. This is not.
Yeah.
For some of us, if we ate broccoli earlier that day, it's going to sound different. But the emotions, concerns, thought, everything shows up. And because it's such a tiny muscle, the tiniest details, they all show up in there. So the upside is, at least if you think of it that way, it's kind of like getting to use a different instrument each time and not being stuck with the same one.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. That is a fun frame. Can you give me an example of something that you have to work around vocally?
Yes. Okay. I'm trying to think of a
Don't,
simple way to explain it.
yeah, don't feel like you actually have to translate it for me, because a lot of times the jargon that you use, as if you were talking to another singer, is extremely useful. And I can always ask you to unpack something that I need you to unpack more.
Gotcha. One of the things I deal with often, I learned this in undergrad, is my level of excitement. I love performing. So one of my coaches taught me, this was in the issue when I was an undergrad. In performance, we'd be going and he'd look concerned and he'd be singing and he'd be conducting and making motions. And I'm like, what? I'm singing fine. And then he would schedule a rehearsal for just us and we'd go through it. And it was like, yeah, it sounds great. It sounds fine. And then later on that evening, we have another rehearsal and apparently I'm singing sharp every single time. And he eventually figured out that you're just excited. You're like a puppy dog. Like every time you and you're one of those puppy dogs that wag its tail so hard, like it doesn't stand straight and it's like almost like knocks itself over. And so I have to almost physically think, this is not a big deal. It's not even nerves, as I've heard they're not very different. So maybe it is, but I have to make it less of a fun thing than it is mentally, so I can stay in a performance zone. It's like because I say this often that I saw my first opera from the stage while I was doing it. Maybe that's the way I always relate to it. So it's always exciting and I'm always enjoying it as the audience and the performer at the same time. And I have to remind myself, like, you can't be the audience right now. You have to produce the show that the audience enjoys. Like you stay here. So for that reason, I'm constantly like, I can feel one of the things that happens often, even if I can regulate everything else, I have an issue with my larynx wanting to go up. And as an opera singer, we always keep it down. That's why when you talk to career opera singers, they tend to speak like this, because they're trained to always have the larynx in the lowest position and just keep it there nonstop, where it doesn't matter how high or low you sing, oh, and it does not move. I should have warmed up before I did that. But anyways.
Tell me what just made you unhappy with that.
Ooh. So there is a certain quality we'd like to always have in our singing, and we refer to it as squillo, Squilo. And it's the certain ring that happens when you are singing correctly, for lack of, and the best analogy I can give is like when you take a regular balloon and you blow it up like with your breath, and you take the top of it and you pull it, and it makes that, and you got to pull it like just right. When we sing just right, you can hear the difference. I'll see if I can do it. So without it, it would sound ah, ah, and if I do it right, ah, ah, there's like the but there's also a really higher pitched ring that's happening.
There's an openness kind of
and there's I'll go back and forth. Ah, 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 ah. And the trick for us is to have that continuously going while we sing whatever we sing.
That's really
different
cool.
words, consonants, syllables, vowels, and
Yeah,
it just stays the whole time.
that's fascinating. Oh, yeah. So most of the stuff that I was doing was I was like singing like small furry animals. So like lots of like intentional fry in the voice, all things that you just don't do. Do you see squealo as frontal resonance?
Yes, I do. I think it comes as a result of frontal resonance. If I can feel, we say, singers say, one of the phrases we say is keep it in the mask. Say, keeping the sound in, because we're using our skull, like the bones in our skull, as the resonators, like these things. And that's why, if you look through history, some of the most like the most notable opera singers had very particular bone structure in their face. You notice, and oh, okay. And if you think of different shapes of a trumpet making different sounds, it's a similar thing. That being said, we can actually choose which bones we're using. And the trick is to always keep it in these bones here. If you can keep it in here, then it's gonna sound exactly the way you want it. Doesn't matter how loud the orchestra is playing, you'll hear me.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. You are fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for having me.